it looks like we accidentally got this thing square. I'm just trying not to say, where we can safely drive this. I swear, y'all, I've got a plan. And because I'm a dum-dum, I'm going to try this one more time. I really want this thing to work. Ta-da! Wait. Ta-da! Today, we're going to be working on hold on, maybe I can talk here in a minute. Today, we're going to be working on the social experiment called Rascal. Rascal the Stubby Subaru. That's right. We've named this little critter. So, you know how it is. Whenever they get named, generally they usually stick around for a while. So in the previous 3 videos, you saw where I cut the roof off. You saw where I cut the center section out, and from evidence here, you could see where we got it running. So we got some mud and stuff like that underneath here where we took it for a nice little rip through the pasture. It wasn't supposed to be this way, but it is. And it's kind of weaseling its way into our hearts. So what we're going to do today, or the next couple of days, I have some adult responsibilities I have to tend to, so I don't know exactly how much I'll get done, but hopefully we can get a good start. But right here, we've got where this is a side impact bar. This is actually at the base of the center console. This is the frame member for the rear. This is the frame member for the front. And you can see they're not connected together. The only place the car is connected is the rockers. Now, there's a lot of support in those rockers. They are really beefy. However, I do want to add a little bit more in here because when I took it for my little rip there in the field, you could feel it kind of flexy twisty on me. So I'm going to make some gussets that I can weld from here to here. Look, focus. Okay. From here to here. That'll tie this end to the rear, and then we'll have the support here. I'm going to go ahead and fill in where this pan is. We're going to do the same thing on this side, and then when I get done with that, I need to do a little more something on the exhaust. And just so y'all can see, first thing everybody asks, is it still all-wheel drive? Yes, it's still all-wheel drive. And there is the cutest drive shaft on earth. Yeah, that bad boy is 10 inches long. You can see we're at a bit of an angle. Not having much trouble with it, but as you can tell right there, that joint is really close to bottoming out. The problem is on deacceleration. So if you let off the gas, that kind of rocks up, which changes the angle, and then they do bottom out. So what I may have to do is go ahead and drop this transmission mount down. I don't know, not going to take much, maybe about an inch. And if I do that, I may have to actually cut the drive shaft back open and take another ½ inch out of it. And I'm fine with that. You know, there's no manual on what kind of angles and what kind of other stuff you can do on a shortened Subaru. And, you know, once again, the condition of this rig, she's whipped. It's whipped pretty bad. Runs like a top. She's got some oil leaks and stuff like that. I think we may do something with that in the future. I don't know. I just don't know exactly what's going to become of this thing. It's definitely turning out to be something that I would have never expected in a million years, and it is just so dang much fun. So I'm going to quit yammering, and I'm going to start making some templates and stuff to make some reinforcements to go in this little rascal. So stick around and let's see where today takes us. Sneak up in here and just get a general idea of where I want to be. So we want this top edge here. Go get me a pencil too. Alright, so this is going to be a brace, and in the future I might panel it all the way in just to block this completely off. But for the brace, and I'll still panel it, but I'll want to have the reinforcement in there. So we're going to come down here to the meat of this frame support here, body support. We're going to bring it on a curve, and then this guy here, I think I'm going to leave just a little flat spot. And then we're going to come down like this as well. And there we have it. That's going to be our first piece that we make. So I'm actually going to cut 2 of these. I'm going to check it on the other side, make sure everything looks good there. And we'll come over here to the other side. I do have it turned around the other way. Oh, looks pretty good. Almost like a feller knew what he was doing. Now I have no idea if this will work on the inside, because what I'd really like to do is put one on the inside of the rail as well, but the rear rail, I'll learn to talk one of these days, I swear. It actually comes down a little bit more, so I think what we're going to do is go ahead and fab a couple of these up, and then we'll get it prepped, weld these in there, and then we'll go to the inside. I do want to put another set in there. I've got some 1/8 inch, because that looks like it's probably about 11 gauge. And I'd rather be a little bit overkill than underkill. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out of 1/8 inch plate or 11 gauge plate. Alright, let's take this little piece here and go over here to the fab area, I guess. I don't know. Where all my junk and all my workbenches are, and we're going to take this, and if this piece of steel right here, wait a minute. Alright, I got a confession to make. I cheated. I have this handy little tool here, for lack of a better term. This is an arc joint. It's a little present I bought for myself 6 months ago. So what did I do? Well, has this handy dandy little tool where you set this down, trace it out using the little arm here, and then you press a couple of buttons, and then all next thing you know, you got 2 of them. How accurate is it? Well, it just depends on how much time you spend on it. Okay. So this here is probably hard to see, but I went just a little bit inside my line, and you can also set the tolerance in there. And as you can see, yeah, did good. It's a impressive little machine. So anyways, we got 2 of these, and they are 1/8 inch or 11 gauge, depending on whatever way you want to look at it. And put this on my Ford side table here. Anyways, so we're going to take these right here, and we're going to weld them in right there. So that'll definitely tie this into the rear frame, and it's going to give us a little more, yeah. Hopefully it'll take some of the twist out of this thing, because it's not bad. But whenever I tried to go off-road with it, you could feel it like, I don't know, like twisting from the steering wheel to my butt. So I'm sitting in the seat, I'm holding the steering wheel, and you can just feel the front and the back twisting independently. I didn't really like that. So anywho, I'm going to let this thing down, and I'm going to go ahead and cut some pieces for the front of this brace here. So we'll have one piece here, one piece on the other side, just to help tie it all back together. So here's another perspective of what we're trying to do. So let's get this extra 4 feet of wiring harness out of the way. The other brace is sitting right in here. Matter of fact, let me grab it. Get it off my side table here. So this is going to go right like that. Okay. Now what I want to do is do another brace, just another, right here. But it's going to be just a little bit different shape. So I'm going to go ahead and get me some pasteboard and template this out so that we can do a second one. Just kind of come right in here. That puts us right about there, which the seat is, I'll probably build a riser that comes up from here and then goes straight back. And the reason for it is if drive shaft rocks, whatever, I don't want any of that stuff coming up in here. You can see how much dirt and crap flies in, just what little bit I have driven it up and down the driveway. So anywho, get this templated out and get this brace in here done and do a little bit of welding on this sucker. Through the power of video editing, I made a template for these pieces here, and I don't know how, but everything, the templates or the pieces I cut out are exactly the same from one side to the other, and they're falling in the same exact spot on both sides, same height. It looks like we accidentally got this thing square. I don't know how. I don't know. But so I'm to this point now. I'm going to drag my welder over here. I think I'm going to go ahead and dress up this edge just a little bit. I am going to come in here where we've got, I cut a flange off right here. So I'm going to run a bead of weld down through here. Oh, all the way to here. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to even this off to where we have as much room as possible in the, well, for your feet. So let me get the welder over here and get to burning some metal. I did not record any of the welding. That was a pain in the butt to get into to weld. So this is what the underside looks like now. We've got everything tied together. You can already tell that it feels a lot more solid. If you look in here, this is the top side, and we've got a brace in here. We've got a brace in the center. It's actually square. The two pieces are kind of at a slant. So that's going to tie everything together in here. Now I have a lot more confidence that it would survive a really spirited drive now. I also came in here and cleaned this edge up, welded the inside of the rocker here. And we still have a bit more reinforcements to do right here. I cut this channel out because we need room for a seat. So we're still going to dress that up, but I think what I'm going to do next is I've got a fuel cell for this thing. Okay, this is the current situation. Yeah, the tinfoil is just not working. So every time we try to drive this thing, we're splashing fuel. So I got this. It is a Scamazon special. Doesn't quite fit, but I went ahead and drilled a hole. This is the Subaru sending unit. I'm going to see if there's enough room where I can cut a relief in here on either side and get this thing to just drop in there. If that works out, that would be awesome. So that's going to be our next thing, is seeing if we can't drop this into place and get rid of old Sparky, the fuel tank here. And yeah, I'm just trying not to say, you know, where we can safely drive this, but you know what I mean. Well, after some measuring, it looks like that fuel cell will drop right between the frame rails. I will have to cut a notch out on either side of the spare tire well. The reason why we're having to do this is where the fuel tank used to go is no longer there. And it's this really weird shape, saddle-y looking kidney bean thing. So what I'm going to try and do is get a measurement here and see if we can't figure out where to cut, and just give it a hope and a prayer that we land it in the right spot. All right, so that looks pretty close. Let me go find a straight edge, and of course I probably ought to move that somewhere safer. I swear y'all, I've got a plan. So we're gonna make some cuts and try not to blow ourselves up. Because yeah, if I take the fuel pump out of that, fuel is just gonna drain everywhere. And I have a feeling it'll be a bigger mess that way. So all I'm gonna do is just cut a notch in there and let the tank sit on the bottom of that well. That's a solid plan. So here we go. Of course my battery dies. Alright, attempt number 2. I have a feeling I dropped down inside the frame rail. We're going to find out here in just a minute. All right, what's behind door number 1? Are you serious? Is this thing double walled? No, yeah, no, yeah, no. Oh, yeah. Well, crap. I did cut inside the frame rail. So close. You know what? I do have a cool little tool I got the other day. I think I'm going to try this just for the heck of it. We don't need no heat shield. So I might actually have to push that back in there just a little bit. But it just holds a plastic bumper. So it's not that big of a deal, right? There again, I think I'm inside the frame rail. It's too awkward to get in there with that. Let's do it with this. Now, once again, did the same thing. So I did measure, I promise. What I didn't realize is that these rails tapered. So it may or may not squeeze in there past them. If it doesn't, we'll just push it together and we'll weld it. So I'm going to come in here and try to make a cut to get the edge of that. There's a flange on that supporting member. We're going to cut that flange off. And because I'm a dum-dum, I'm going to try this one more time. I really want this thing to work. Okay, well, that wasn't bad. Now let's see if it'll fit. Not even close. Oh, so I'm a little tight over here. Actually, I'm a lot tight. Because it looks like it tapers in just a fuzz. I don't know. Maybe. Let's give it a shot. I don't understand. I'm measuring this thing and it's just not wanting to go. Of course, these fuel lines are fighting like the devil. I think we're just going to massage it a little bit. So I'm going to take a little taper out of these supporting members. Now let's see. God, what is with this thing? She's just getting tight. Still, it should go. So, I don't know. I just don't know. Oh, the son of a gun. That's really weird. It's like nothing's square. Alright, that's got that tucked in there. What are we up to? 5 or 6 tries now? Just drop in there. Just no. Y'all, I swear I used a tape measure. It's almost like we're not wide enough up front. The thing just keeps getting caught and everything. All of a sudden it's trying to whoop me. Oh. So y'all notice I hammer like lightning. I never hit the same spot twice. Oh, is this it? Now what are you holding up on? Oh, it's hitting on those heat shields. Okay, okay. Well, it's easy enough remedy. I can't get it back out. Oh, so we're left with a decision. Let her ride, or rip her on out, and fix the heat shields. When I say fix, I mean break them. This is crazy. There is like nothing that it could possibly be hitting. Still in those daggone corners. There it goes. Oh. I like it. All right. So the tank's in there. I mean, I can put straps on it if I needed to, but I don't really think I'm going to need to. There's still room underneath here to where all your wrenches, screwdrivers, and all that crap can still go and slip off into oblivion. I do have it higher on this side than this side. That's because the factory sending unit does not go all the way to the bottom of the tank. I didn't feel like cutting all this out and recessing it and all that nonsense. So I just got it tilted. It's going to leave, I don't know, about 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons in the bottom of the tank. And I'm fine with that. I don't think it's really going to be doing long trips anymore. So now I'm curious to see if I put some fuel in this thing and hook it up, if I've actually got these lines correct. So just in case you're wondering, that's where the fuel cell comes out of the spare tire well. I might have got a little rowdy there with that cut. And then the other side, I mean, it is just stuffed in there. But I can bring this side down a little bit more if I cut a little more of that out. But I don't think I'm going to get that thing back out of there. So let's get her back down and hook it up. Good morning. So I've got to get Rascal here put together in some sort of a fashion this morning where I can fire it up and move this thing out. I've got another project coming up that it's a friend of mine. We're going to be working on a little C10 truck. We're going to do a severe chop and drop on it. So stick with me. We're going to do some fabric cobbling this morning to put some safety back in this thing. So let's see what we can get into. As I'm rebending these lines, and I know this car is just a disaster and it's driving me crazy, but I have rebent them to where they come around the wheel well, and they're going to terminate in the trunk. And then I'm going to change the end on these to do a push to connect to where we can hook right directly to the fuel sender. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making these little brackets right here. I made a little jig a couple years ago where I can just press them in my hydraulic press over here. So we'll go over here and we'll make a couple of these things to where we can secure these lines down. So here's what we're making the brackets out of. I've already cut a strip 3/4 of an inch wide, and this little pile of scrap metal right here is actually the die. So what we're going to do is mark this out. It's predetermined measurement of 2 3/4, and then we're going to use this little dude. Excuse me. This little dude right here. Knock a hole in the center. Press it out. Presto changeo. We have fuel line. Hold down. Mount. Doohickeys. Fabric cobbled. So 2 3/4 is our length, and then we go half, which is where our hole's going to go. 2 3/4, and then 1 3/8. X where our hole needs to go. Take our old jalopy shears, trim it back. And we're going to mash a hole in it. Now, at this point, what I'd normally do is go ahead and dress up my edges before I put it in the press and form it. But I'm just not really worried about it on this particular project. And then over here at the press, I'm going to put, I don't know which is actually the male and female part of the die because, well, I don't know. I don't know. And we want to line the hole up in the center. And on the, we're putting the 3 doohickey part on top. We're going to make sure it's centered on that hole. And then I'm going to put my little spacer block on top here. And then we're going to crunch it in there with the press. And don't want to get crazy with it. Oh, that was loud. Sorry about that. And here's what we end up with. So I'm going to make, I've already got 2 made. I'm going to make up 2 more. And then we'll put these bad boys in, get those fuel lines secured down because there's no way around it. We're going to have our feet on them and be shifting around them and all that. There's just not a room for everything in that car anymore. And I'm trying not to use the word safety when it comes to that car because I don't know that it's, I don't think you can call or say anything about safety with it anymore. Now, is it safer than a lot of stuff I've done in the past, built in the past? Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. But I don't want anybody to burn to death in my creation. All right, and there we have it. All right, down and back. Bend you back just a little bit. Oh, nice. All right, once again, down and back. Down and back, down, do just a little more. Oh yeah, I think I can live with that. And I promise you, we would do a nut cert, and then we drill a hole, or not a nut cert, but a rev nut, and we'd put a rev nut in there. But for this little fella, we're just going to use self tappers. If for some reason they don't want to hold, then we'll resort to rev nuts. I need another arm, y'all. I'm going to come back where we've got that shielding on there, you know, safety third and all. Come on. Half the time you can't even get the screws off the end of the bit. Right now, I can't even get them to go on there. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah. Now, I'm going to adjust that around just a little bit. Nice thing about doing these out of aluminum is they're soft and squishy and formable. The bad thing about doing them in aluminum is they're soft and squishy and formable. But just take your pliers, just give it just a little crimp there. And now all our fuel lines are secure. Bend the edges down a little bit. Just got to get it hooked into the tank now. So how do I plan on reconnecting these fuel lines? Well, I haven't cut the hard lines yet. And these have push to connect fittings that go into a nylon hose. So what I was thinking about doing is pulling the rubber part off and pushing the nylon up onto the barb fitting if I can get there from here. Golly gee Moses, that is stuck. Look out guys, there's a little bit of gasoline coming out. Oh, come on, gimp hand. Now you might ask, why don't you just cut it? Well, I'm not 100% sure this is going to work. So we might need this little fella. So close. Okay. And this is why we didn't want to destroy the hose taking it off. So this is the original hose. It has a nylon lining in it. And then the fittings have an O-ring on the end of them, the push to connect guys do. To remove it, I just took my knife and just cut down the side of it because you'll melt that thing before you actually get it to slide off. So I'm going to do the same thing for the return line. I'm going to take this fitting here. We're going to take and slice just right there where the barbs are. Pull that out, slip the hose on it, put the clamp on it, and then that gets the fuel lines concluded. We'll put some fuel in this bad boy and see if she'll bark off. We got the fuel tank set in, plumbed in. Didn't go exactly how I'd planned, but plan B was really good. So we've got our push to connect fittings on our fuel sending unit, going to the original nylon lined rubber or flex lines. And then these I rebent around and just put the push to connect fittings into the rubber line, tied them off. The factory sending unit, it's actually hooked to the factory wiring harness. The sucker's wedged down into the trunk floor. So we cut it away. She's nestled in there nice and tight. Eventually there's kind of an idea flying around of maybe possibly autocrossing this little guy. So if I do, I'll need to just put some tie down straps just on the corners of this thing. All this here is all the extra 4 foot of length of wiring harness. So I did go ahead and cut out the non-necessary stuff. Like the airbags. There is no place to put airbags on this car, okay? It's where the airbags were, there's just no car to hold them anymore. And this kept cutting me, so I put a little duct tape over it. But I cleaned up the passenger area in here. So by getting the airbag wiring out, and as I was stripping back the harness, I came across where the harness branches out for the rear doors. We didn't need that, so we cut that out. The harness for the front seats, well, there's no way possible. The front seat mounts are right here, and the back seat, well, it's just no, we can't. Maybe you could put, no, you can't put the seats in there because the back of the seat would be where the differential is. The sport sharp mode button, it's not working. I don't know why. I plugged it back in. Maybe because the wheel sensors are disconnected. I don't know. But front seat wiring's been deleted. The rear door harnesses has been deleted. And what we ended up with for the fuel lines We got these rebent. I do want to come in here and cut down the factory plastic panels and stuff to put in here. But the fuel line, it's nice and secure. The tank is secure. There's no obstacles or wiring harness and stuff in the footwells to get tangled as you get in and out. And yeah, I have no idea if it'll start, but I'm sure it will. And set the seat back in there. I actually have the bottom board tied in with some zip ties. I wasn't going to. I didn't plan to go this far with this thing, but we're going to build a custom seat for this car. I think we're going all the way, folks. We're gonna go for it on this. And what I want to do is build a piece that comes over the top and comes in and kind of like an armrest right here. The center console, I'm gonna put a piece of the center console coming back, and there'll be two seat bottoms that'll go in here. We'll get some carpet to put in here. I've got all the trim that goes in the door jambs. We're gonna put that back in. The trim for the B-pillars, I've got all that. So we're gonna try to cut down, we're gonna cut down all the factory stuff and stick it back in here. The only thing that I didn't save was the carpet, because it was so disgusting. Especially up here in the front footwell, it just fell apart and tore like tissue paper. The rear tray, I pulled the wire back for the third brake light. I do want to put that in there. And I'm considering some sort of a top for this thing. But it has to be able to move in some sort of fashion, because yeah, it would be impossible to get in this car if you had like a rigid top on it. So I may do like a snap over, kind of like a Jeep style top. I don't know. We'll just have to see. And yes, I do plan on building doors for this thing. So I've still got the front and rear doors, and I want to take the section of the front door from here forward, and then section the rear door from there back. I want to combine the two together, and I'm playing around with the idea of possibly taking this sweep down just a little bit to the body line, leave enough room for my door latch, and bring it out. And then we have the side mirrors that come out right here. So bring that cut and just bring it back up right there where the mirrors go. So I think that'd look pretty cool. Give you a little more room in there. And yeah, a little more room. So all we did was delete the room on the inside. And then, like I said, it wasn't actually supposed to go this far. So I'm going to start actively looking for the pieces, headlights, front bumper cover, to put a front end back on this thing. And then I'm going to have to find some sort of 17-inch tire, because I don't know if you can, well, you can see that. This one here has cord sticking all the way through. This one here has cords sticking through about halfway around. So yeah, I want to get just a little more something, because if one of those blow out, I mean, it would probably be like a mule kicking you. You're so close to them now. But anyways, so this will be the wrap up for the fuel tank, and just kind of cleaning up the wire and the fuel lines. Getting all that stuff kind of tied back, just to make it a little more drivable, but mainly the fuel tank, and just getting this a little more situated in here to where you're not, getting lassoed by wires getting in and out of this thing. So I don't know what we're going to do next to it. We've got doors, we've got a seat, we've got a bunch of other things that we're going to do to this. So there'll be another video coming up shortly. I just got to figure out, which step I want to do next. Is it more important to have it a little more cushy on the tushy, or do we want to have it to where, you hit like, I don't know, mud and dirt and stuff in the road that it flicks up in your face? It's pretty rough. There's a lot of stuff comes off the front tires on this thing. Maybe I can find a set of the Subaru mud flaps for the front. But don't know exactly what we're going to do next, but we're going to be doing, I wouldn't mind being able to rip this thing this summer. And just enjoy it, have fun. And not many people have seen it at this point, and the people that have, I haven't had anybody say anything negative about it. I'm really surprised. I built it and I think it's the dumbest thing ever. It is so dumb, it's awesome. I mean, what more can you say? So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you made it through to the end, you've got strong intestinal fortitude. So like, share, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Love it or hate it, I've got a thick skin. Just let me know. Appreciate y'all.